The story of Poppy Gavel is a series of failures and rejection and recreation. He first gained notoriety as a mystic fortune teller who got very involved in the Satanist movement of the 1960s. Gavel used a lot of his occult knowledge to rise to the head of the South San Francisco Church of Satan and was becoming a regular spokesman for the movement. But that didn't last long. There were a lot of factors. He lacked discretion. If you intend to sacrifice babies, for instance, that's not something you should openly advertise. But the biggest problem was just his stridency. Poppy Gavel was a zealot. He just always had these tendencies to get extreme, to follow out everything to its logical, absurd conclusion. In the 60s, almost everyone joined a couple of cults or went through some sort of mystic phase, right? The Church of Satan was full of a lot of young kids who were looking to escape the strictures of their parents' religions. The sort of fire-breathing sermonizing and demonological ecclesiology employed by Gavel was a big turnoff to them, and just out of tune with what the Satanists were about back then. The Satanist movement and Church of Satan wasn't about Satan so much as man, liberating, celebrating, and reveling in human nature, with all its selfish, pleasure-hungry, throbbing messiness and chaos. It was about good times, psychic wholeness, and healing through shedding one's shame, community, and, of course, free love. It was very much in the spirit of experimentation and popular mass therapy that was exploding at that time. In that context, among these disillusioned, forward-thinking flower children, Poppy Gavel seemed like a medieval friar, always nagging or chiding, and calling on them to lay down their souls for Lucifer's kingdom. He, his 6 wives, and a handful of his followers were formally excommunicated by the Church of Satan in 1971. Gavel tried starting his own sect for a while, but real estate prices drove him south. At some point, he met with, and soon joined, the Ecumenical Order of the Altar. In Gavel's last public statement of the time, he said that everything he had been searching for and trying to find in Satanism had been divined by Nakamachan, who had turned all religions on their head to drain them of their distinctions and show their true unity and single purpose, the grace of annihilation. This turned out to have been an opportune time to join, as their leader of the time, transcendent mogul Sanaki Muru, was dying. Poppy's devotion, along with the growing number of young people who had followed him to his new church, made him the obvious choice to become the next trans-mogul of the order. Under Poppy, the order underwent its first great transformation. They turned from their singular goal of attaining inner peace, communion, and enlightenment to changing the world around them and realizing the imperatives that followed from their theology. Ecumenical evangelism had a bumpy start. There was a lot going on, socially and politically at that time, and the order's first instinct was to lend its support and attempt to co-opt various factions of different civil rights and social change movements. They were very active and influential in the Right to Die movement early on, of course, but Poppy soon took special interest in environmentalism. In every case, though, the group ended up alienating itself, always taking things too far, and clumsily attempting to appropriate every cause to its own theological agenda. So, while they were a leading key group in the California environmental movement of the 70s, for example, by the 80s, every major group, even those the order had helped found, had publicly disowned the group as dangerous and anti-ecological, anti-nature. It's not that they weren't all devoted advocates of the earth. The irresolvable point of contention between the environmentalists and the order boiled down to the fact that they saw the earth as a living ecosystem that sustained life, while the order conceived it as a dead thing, infected by life. Slimy, greasy, gooey, gross, living things. Gavel died sometime in the 1980s, but not before he finally found a way to more subtly advance his cause by expanding the order's political and economic power. So in 1982, he founded CoreStruct, an oil company that was soon making a healthy profit. I guess as sort of an intended defense against his old eco-warrior allies. But I think he also saw this industry as more aligned with his aims. He had given up on conversion or co-option. Before he died, Gavel established a matriarchal line of succession for the order. That put his wives and daughters in charge. Under their leadership, the order has become far less brazen or blatant in its attempts to advance its cause, no longer in the public spotlight. However, Corstrux soon became very active, branching out first into drill manufacturing, electronics, weapons, chemicals, and nanotechnology. The original oil company went on to expand and buy a wide array of financial and technological companies and proceeded to transform and merge them into secret R&D think tanks and labs that lose billions of dollars every year. Profits to fund the whole operation come from other sectors and shell companies of their corporate empire. Nobody at any of these prominent companies, not even the CEOs, belong to the church or even knows what they're working for. Look at Dignitia's mission statement and motto. They're all about calming the flux and giving rest to the restless. This is the sort of language you'd expect to find in the financial portfolio of a public transit company that, for some reason, now manufactures large drill rotors. The international conglomerate that publicly seems to be in control of the whole racket operates from out of Brugge, the Amici Arnani. But they are another marionette of the Remakers Council of Crones. A quaking spell? You're talking about the heart of all magic, which is beyond magic, really. Di cosa nace cosa. That's mastery. Yeah, they sound like kooks, but it's all science-based, and it's not so unprecedented. There is both rhyme and reason there. It's really just a hodgepodge of all the darkest, blackest incantations and conjuring spells ripped out of context from every ancient order and tradition in the world. The results are about what you would expect. Controlled chaos, nature at war with itself. Ouroboros. You see how deep this goes? You don't mess with Ohlone magic. It's too powerful, dangerous. You can't control it. You leave that shit to the Ohlone. But the Order knows this. They realize the danger. They know they can't control it. That's the whole point. That's what they're all about. That's why they are here. Semper mortuus. It means always dying. Always. Already dead. That's what they believe, and that's what they practice. They're just so bad, you know? But also so passionately devoted to their cause. They just don't care what anybody thinks about them. That's the telltale mark of some super old, caveman-like sorcery. There's a lot of scurrilous rumors about his death that people make up. A few books on all the theories. But there's no reason to doubt the evidence of the official version. Multiple witnesses, photos, coroner reports, sworn testimony. Poppy tried to consume a live python head first. That's the simple truth.